Hey guys, Dr. Atkin here, and I'm here to record a long overdue video, and that video is going to be about ergonomics of the workspace. So many people are now working from home, and I can't tell you how many times people have walked in and they've pointed right where their shoulders are hurting and it's killing them, and they don't know why. And and so I ask them, are you working at home? How's the workspace at home? And they're like, it's not bad. I'm like, you probably have a dual monitor, right? And they're like, oh my gosh, how did you know? I'm like, you probably more work with your head pointed towards the right side. And they're like, yeah. It's like, well, you've got this spot right here on the left side and you're absolutely killing yourself because of the way we're screwing up this dual monitor setup. So I'm going to talk to you about the setup of a workspace in general, but we're also going to be talking about dual monitors because I know, a lot of us have it and need it. And so let's jump right on into it then. So when you're looking at how to properly sit, first of all, we're not designed to sit all day long. You've got to get up, you've got to move around, you got to jump around. There's some different stretches and exercises, and that's going to be in a different video. But every 30 minutes to an hour, you have got to get up and moving. But once again, that's not what this is about. Here's a couple of things that that are absolute requirements when it comes to properly being set up. So first of all, your feet need to be squarely on the ground. We're going to be looking at a whole lot of 90-degree angles. Your ankles need to be at 90 degrees. Your knees need to be at 90 degrees. You need to make sure that your chair is not digging into the back of your legs. That's where a lot of people get a lot of leg soreness and sciatic pain is from their chair being too high and digging into the back of their legs. Your hips are at 90-degree angles. You want to make sure that you have a setup where you're able to sit in a very comfortable position upright. Your elbows need to be at 90-degree angles. So often I see people reaching up for their keyboards and writing up like that, and I'm going to show you why that's such a bad idea. So your elbows need to be at 90-degree angles. Your wrists need to be very comfortable in how they're set up. In fact, for a lot of people, that means that the wrist is actually going to be a little bit, to the outside, right like that. That needs to be at 90-degree angles. You want to be facing things on directly. Your chin needs to be 90-degree angle, looking straight forward. So once again, you want to see a whole lot of 90-degree angles. Now, the setup that I have at my office, I actually have, my laptop hooked up to these two monitors. And so, I know some of you have it that way. So, I have it set up to where my monitors are just right above my laptop so that I can kind of, come off into each direction, with my mouse here as I drag things in different directions. Now, as you can see though, as I turn around here, right now, I'm reaching up to get to this table. And as I reach up here, I am constantly flexing all my trap muscles, my biceps, my forearms, everything is gently flexed because of how high I have to reach. That is probably a bigger problem than the position of people's heads. As people come in, it's almost always because they're reaching. So you have to get those 90-degree angles. So I pretty much have to take my chair all the way up. So as I come up here now, and I've got a little bit down to go, so I've basically got this now level with the table, and my shoulders can now be completely relaxed as I'm right here able to type. Now, the problem with that is, as you can see, is that now my feet can't touch the ground. In fact, my feet are fully 100% dangling, and that's just not going to do. And so what I have, and I don't know, hopefully on this video you can see, I've literally got an old, the box my laptop came in ends up being just at the perfect height for me to rest my feet. There's obviously things way more sophisticated than this. In fact, spending, I don't know, $100 on Amazon could probably get you all kinds of really cool accessories, little foot risers and monitor risers. You can see I've got my stuff sitting on books, but I just wanted to show you not only this is seriously what I actually do and use, but you can get creative and don't have to spend a bunch of money in the process as well too. So this box gets my feet right at the right height. So now as I come right on in here, my arms are at the right height, my elbows are at the right height. It happens all the time that I'll come tap somebody on the shoulder and I'll just say relax, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize my shoulders were that high. And that's what people are doing. So now my shoulders can be relaxed, my feet can be right at the right height, and my head can be looking straight forward at the monitor. So I lifted these monitors up until they're right at the right height. Now, my laptop's still a little bit lower than would be ideal, but once again, there is no such thing as a laptop that's going to have a good ergonomic setup, because either I'm going to have to lift it up here and then I'll be reaching up here to type, or it's going to be down here and the screen will be too low. That's one reason why if you're doing a lot of work on a laptop, it's beneficial to have these monitors that you can drag your stuff up into and yet still have a mobile laptop where you can take everything that you need, wherever, you want to go. And so that's kind of why I have this set up the way that I do. So my feet are at 90 degrees, my knees are at 90 degrees, my hips are at 90 degrees. I'm sitting right here, my head's able to be up, I'm looking in both directions, and that's a great setup for what I'm doing. Now, I know, some of you may not even have a laptop, and so, let's knock the laptop out of the way here, and we can use a keyboard. Now, with a keyboard, as you can see, I have my monitors completely flush with each other. I've got monitors that basically have really no edge, so it's not like there's a big old gap in between my screen. This very easily, just goes back and forth. Now, I'm usually working fairly equally on both of them, and so as the middle is basically right there, I'm still, gently looking back and forth. My head doesn't have to move much. In fact, your eyes move up and down 30 degrees without moving your head, and they can go side to side. So use the fact that that your eyes move without moving your head as much. But if you find that you do need to move your head, then you're working equally between the two. Now, most times when I ask people whether they work more on one screen than the other, generally they do. And so I have a nice wide space in here so that if one of my computers and one of my screens is my main action, I'm not going to leave it to my head to move back and forth. I'm moving myself all the way over here so that if I have to spend the next hour or two on this, I can really focus here, and every once in a while if I've got to drag something over, then I drag it over. But if that's my action monitor, that's where I want to be. So once again, you need your head on straight most of the time. And so what's going to keep your head on straight? Now, if I find that I always have this one screen that I'm always working on with just dragging a few things over, then every other day, I'm going to be using the other monitor. I'm going to use this monitor now so that I occasionally drag things from over there so that I'm spending equal amounts of time to the right and left. And so you can see that each situation that you guys have is going to be a little bit unique, but the question you have to ask yourself is, what do I need to do to get my head on straight, to get my shoulders relaxed, so that when I go off in the zone and I'm actually doing my work and not thinking about my posture, I still have good posture. I've got my alarm set for 30 to 60 minutes so that I can get up, I can stretch, I can push my head back, my shoulder blades together. I can run around the room, I can go dance to a song with my, kids who are out there screaming, making all kinds of noise. I've got my water bottle here. I got to drink this thing every 2 hours. So you're drinking plenty of water, you're keeping the healthy habits, you're moving, you're keeping your head on straight. I'm telling you, that is going to make a huge difference with you being able to maintain working from home in a healthy way. And of course, all this same stuff applies at the office. Get your boss and tell him, hey, listen, watch this video. I want to get a couple things that are going to help me with this, right? Now, obviously getting a sit to stand desk is even better, because if you can go up and down, then when you're sick of standing, you sit down. When you're sick of sitting, you stand up. IKEA will even have these tables where, for a couple $100, you've got the little lever that reaches it up. I've seen there's electric monitor things where it's basically something that you can kind of push to the back that automatically lifts that up. So if you can customize the height of this, if you can customize the height of the monitor, and you can customize the height of your chair, then you can get the perfect setup without all this crazy creativity, that I've had to deal with. But either way, it's something that's very possible. The other thing that I like is a depth of a desk to where, you can be here typing, but if you need to do papers and stuff, then you still have room to kind of push the keyboard back, and be able to write stuff. And that way, you're not doing one of these numbers where you're spending, a lot of your time just moped over here on the right side, because you can't write with your left hand on this side, So you want to make sure that you've got everything the way. And if you find that you end up doing a lot of writing, you really need to write and do a keyboard, then you've got to find something that'll attach to the bottom here so that you can have your keyboard underneath and have a good clean writing surface without having to, get in the way. So once again, look at those things. I'd love to answer any questions that you have. Feel free to reach out to me. I just want to help you with this so that you can get rid of the pain that you may have in your neck and shoulders. And when you get out of your pain, then you'll stop being a pain in the neck to your family as you complain about all these problems. So once again, would love to help out. Feel free to reach out to me. And in the meantime, have a wonderful rest of your day.